The client came to us about 3 years ago now, and they came to us and they said, we've searched for an amazing block of land and we've found it and we've bought it, and we want to have a home that is just worthy of the site, and we want to be able to spend the rest of our lives there. We've not designed it to be trendy or to follow any sort of fad. We've just worked with the client through their ideas of how they wanted the spaces to feel. That has really informed the way that the shape of the building and the palette of the materials has come together.
Interior design process in the scheme of an architectural project begins with a briefing. So we sit down with the clients and really understand what they need from each of their internal spaces and how they interact with each other. What makes it so incredible is the client's trust in us.
The client gave us lots of freedom, and he trusted us to work with him to develop his ideas. Jordan was part of that process, and he helped in so many ways, bringing his experience and knowledge of builds of this calibre. He opened the door for so many really good conversations that we had on site.
Working through the complexities, I think, comes down to a close collaboration with the builder and the architect, obviously working with Greg and Ben quite closely. This build, particularly, number one, the scale, the number of materials that were being used in the construction of the project, the rammed earth, the brickwork, the structural steel framing, the architectural design, and obviously all the roof lines, and which gives it obviously such a unique look and feel, but obviously very difficult to undertake and to action.
Yeah, the scale of the house is quite rare in terms of builds in South Australia, I would say. It's 1,200 square metres, 400 of that is actually in the basement level, down underground.
The challenge was creating the internal spaces in a way that didn't make them feel cavernous.
So what we've done is we've taken materials that have a softness and a warmth, and they don't feel oversized because of the textures that we've used in all of the surfaces around us, which actually bring the spaces in. We talked a lot about light, and we talked a lot about how they like to wake up in the morning with really lovely light. So whilst we've oriented the building to the north to get the best solar access throughout the whole year, we've tended to favour the house to the east for the morning sun. We've lifted the front leading eastern corners of each of the pavilions to turn towards the morning sun and to allow more light.
Given the angled, butterfly, detailed nature of all the ceilings, you're dealing with essentially 3 different angles. There was a lot of thought and craftsmanship that went into that. So obviously a challenging job like this, there's generally periods of time where it can get quite conflictual, but I don't feel we ever sort of had any of those periods. I think both myself and AtelierBond were both pushing for the same result. So I think that certainly helped in the collaboration, and I think it was a really close collaboration.
I think first and foremost the living space, the one that we're in right now, which is the sitting room and the dining room and the kitchen, this is really the heart of the home. The materials, the polished concrete floor and the timber batten ceiling, it all brings together a palette that makes the space feel just wonderful.
It's got amazing views out to the north, which means that it gets incredible natural light, especially through winter. And the whole space is centred on the dam in the lower part of the property, so at all times you can see that. The fireplace, stack bond white brick with a concrete plinth, and that sits centrally within the room, and it divides the dining space and the sitting area. It's quite grand in the space, but not so much that it detracts from the overall scale of the area.
The rammed earth component of the project is a direct response to the client who said to us, I want a house that's worthy of the site, and the second half of that sentence was, and I like rammed earth. The 60-metre long, 6-metre high rammed earth wall runs all the way through the building from one end to the other, and literally and figuratively ties all the spaces together. As proud as I am about how well the execution of the design idea and some of the key details were executed, I'm mostly just really thrilled that the clients are happy. I mean, after such a long journey, we've got here and that they love it.